Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoint and today we're unboxing and taking a closer look at the brand new SCUF Nomad controller. It's got mappable rear paddles, customizable triggers, a performance grip and removable thumbsticks. On top of that, it comes with an app that allows you to fully customize and edit almost every single button on the controller. Also, it looks pretty cool. So today I'm going to show you what this new controller can actually do, how it compares to the Backbone 1, and how it works on the PS5, Xbox Game Pass and other mobile games. Now this officially launches on July the 8th, so a big thanks to SCUF for sending it out early, but I have also dropped a link to it with a discount code below if you want to grab one for yourself. Okay, so this is the box that it came in for me, but I imagine the retail box to be a little smaller than this. Inside we have the controller itself, and let me tell you that on first impressions, this feels really good. Like, it feels like a proper controller, not just a cheap accessory for your phone. We also get a pack of additional thumbsticks as you can pull them off and replace them. There's a camera bump adapter if you've got an iPhone with a larger camera, and a braided USB-C charging cable. And then inside here, SCUF also sent me a branded cap to go with my bag. And here it is. Now I've been using the Backbone 1 controller since it first launched and it's not a bad little controller, but seeing and holding this now for the first time, I can already tell this is going to be my new favourite. Firstly, I'm really liking the all black design that they've gone for. It is also available in white, but I think the all black looks so much nicer. It's got that nice stealthy look. Then looking around, we've got this soft rubbery finish to the front and some subtle SCUF and Nomad branding throughout. Nothing too in your face and nothing that makes it look cheap or tacky. But holding it now, even before I put my iPhone in, it feels perfectly well balanced. The controller and grips are thick enough that it doesn't feel awkward or difficult to hold. Now when it comes to setting it up, it's pretty straightforward. It's a case of pulling the controller apart and just sliding your phone in. Depending on the iPhone that you're using, you might need to use the provided camera bump. And that's what I did on the 14 Pro, but I didn't need to use it on the 15 Pro Max. And this just means that the camera itself won't interfere with the controller around the back. But what's great is you don't need to remove any cases that you're using, something I've always needed to do with the Backbone controller. So for example, the Spigen case that I'm using can stay on while I'm using the Nomad. Then we need to power it on by pressing and holding the home button. You'll then get these little LEDs light up across the bottom. Now press and hold the Bluetooth button on the bottom of the right grip, and it will go into pairing mode. And then from here, you should see the controller listed under your Bluetooth devices on your phone. This then connects to your phone using Bluetooth 5.0. And once that's done, just download the SCUF Nomad app and you're good to go. But I will explain later in the video what this app actually does. As for the controls, it's got pretty much every button that you need. In fact, it's got more on here than some of the other controllers out there. Firstly, we've got the thumbsticks, and it's great to see that they are symmetrical, which I much prefer over asymmetrical sticks. And they also feel like a really good size too, as they are full size rather than being too small. And I know what you're thinking, good luck drifting on those. Well, for the first time, SCUF have included Hall effect thumbsticks, which means there is little to no risk of stick drift. Since they've added them to this controller, I'm kind of hoping that this is something they will include in all of their future controllers as well. Oh, and what's great is you can swap these out, so you can pull the current ones off if you fancy sticking the spare set on that came in the box. Then we have the D-pad on the left side and the A, B, X and Y buttons on the right. Now these are pretty small to be honest and feel like a Switch controller, but they are still usable. Then there's the home button and the SCUF button, which opens up the SCUF app. Then at the bottom there's the options button and the menu button. And next to that are the LED status lights for when it's charging or powered on. And then across the bottom we have a USB-C charging port on one side and a Bluetooth connect button on the other. Then on the top there's the LB and RB bumper buttons along with the L2 and R2 triggers. Now these honestly feel awesome to press. The buttons feel firm and responsive while the triggers have a nice curved shape to them, which means your fingers rest on them perfectly. In the games that I've been playing they feel really responsive as well, but you can also adjust the triggers in the app, which I will show you in a minute. And if we flip this around, we have the rear. So back here, we've got something that SCUF are renowned for, and that's these rear paddles. So we only get two, which to be honest is more than enough for mobile gaming. And these are flat enough that they don't get in the way when you don't need them, but easy enough to press when you do. And these can actually be remapped in the app as well to almost any button that you see on the front. So for me, I've been using them for both jump and crouch, which means I don't need to remove my thumbs from the sticks to press A, B, X or Y, as the rear paddles can be used instead. And the other thing worth mentioning back here is the grip. So this is similar to the Pro grip that we see on the SCUF controller for the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, where it's a thick rubbery texture rather than smooth plastic. And this makes it so much easier for holding, and there's definitely less risk of it falling out of your hands. So to get the most out of this controller, you'll want to download and install the SCUF Nomad app. Now we have seen apps like this before, but the good thing with the SCUF app is it's completely free. There are no fees to download it, and there's no subscription to pay for it either. This app is basically a launcher for all of your other gaming apps or games in general. So in here you can see some of the recommended games to install, the currently installed game launchers including Apple Arcade and PS Remote, and the gallery. So these are all of the screenshots and recordings that you've made, as you can directly record gameplay straight into the app. Then pressing the home icon shows you all of the games that you've pinned for quick access. So these could be local games or remote play games from the PS app. But the really cool thing about this app is the customization that you can do with the controller. So tapping the menu brings up this screen. Then in here you can create multiple profiles, so maybe you've got a different one for FPS and racing games. And then you can even rename these to whatever you'd like as well. And then if you tap the profile, well, this lets you change every single button on the controller. So A could become X, or you could flip the up and down buttons. It's also how you can assign the rear paddles. As you can see here, this will work on almost every single button found on the front. And the same for the bumpers, these can be changed as well. Then this is where it gets really interesting, because both the thumbsticks and the triggers can be tweaked to change the dead zones and the response. So each stick could have different presets, or the triggers on the top could be different depending on the game that you play. You can even assign this profile to certain games as well. So yeah, seriously, this app alone takes mobile gaming to a whole new level with this customization. Unfortunately though, it doesn't currently support Android, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see this added later. But if you really want to see this controller supported for Android as well, drop a comment down below, as you never know, they might actually read it. Now when it comes to mobile gaming, generally speaking, mobile and touchscreen controls are fiddly, feel cheap, or just too small in the hand. Well, I'm just going to jump straight in and say this is the best mobile controller or adapter that I've ever used. I'm not just talking about the fact that it has those remappable rear buttons or the Hall effect thumbsticks, but I'm talking about the overall feel of this thing. Like, it fits perfectly in my hand and actually feels like a proper controller. Okay, so if you're a PlayStation gamer like myself, you'll be pleased to know this controller does natively work on the PS4 and the PS5. So it will connect to the PS Remote app and allow you to control the PS5 dashboard and all of the games with no issues. So here I've been playing some of the Crew Motorfest, and all of the buttons and rematch buttons work exactly as I would expect. And what's great is, even though it's using Bluetooth rather than a wired connection, there is no lag at all. I guess it kind of performs in the same way as a DualSense controller would if you connected that to your phone instead. So for example, in the Crew, normally I would press A on the controller to boost, whereas now I'm able to use one of the rear paddles to boost instead. It is something that I've gotten used to on normal SCUF controllers on my PS5, so it's great to see that SCUF have integrated this into the mobile controller as well. As for the battery life, well, it doesn't connect directly to your phone, so it doesn't drain your phone's battery. Internally, it has its own battery that will last around 16 hours, but you can charge this using the USB-C port on the bottom. Now, I know some of you might have preferred a pass-through charging capability with this adapter, but unfortunately, you will just need to remember to keep this one charged up instead. And then there's Xbox. So on iOS, the Game Pass app doesn't allow you to currently play games via the cloud gaming option. It's also the reason that you don't see the Xbox Game Pass app show up in the SCUF app as well. But fortunately, there is a workaround, and that's to use the browser and head over to xbox.com/play. From here, you can sign into your Xbox account and play any cloud games that you have in your Game Pass. So here I've tested Forza Horizon 5 and High on Life. Both of these games worked with the SCUF controller, as the games simply treat this adapter as a normal Bluetooth controller. The other option is to use the Xbox app for remote play, where you can control and play games that are directly on your Xbox. But if you're not on Xbox or PlayStation, there are still plenty of other games that this controller can be used with. We've got the whole Apple Arcade library of games, so any that offer controller support will allow you to use the Nomad with that. And even normal App Store games as well, so Asphalt 9, Warzone and Call of Duty Mobile all work really well. The fact that you can remap those rear paddles will instantly make mobile gaming so much easier, to the point that it kind of feels like you're cheating. As for the price of this thing, well, I think it's priced pretty well. It comes in at just under £100 or $100, and that comes with everything that you need to get up and running, as well as a 12 months warranty. So when you factor in that it doesn't need an active subscription to use that app, it has all of the buttons that you need for gaming, and it looks decent. I think this is a great little controller. The only thing it really lacks that some of you might have wanted is pass-through charging, or that wired connection, but I've not noticed any lag at all while using Bluetooth. So yeah, if you're looking for a new mobile controller or a cool accessory for someone who's into mobile gaming, this is awesome. And I'd imagine that we will see support for Android at some point in the future as well. So make some noise down below in the comments if you need this for Android. I've also dropped a link down below with a discount code if you want to order one of these for yourself. Now drop a pro controller in the comments and I'll give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And if you did enjoy today's video, check out my top tips for Xbox and PlayStation 5 videos next. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and follow me everywhere. Until next time.